Hello, lovely watchers. Welcome to the Book of Memories, a new series where today I will be telling the boyfriend unit off camera
Hey everyone.
about a series I've come to love and adore. If you're a Silent Hill fan, much like myself, and love deep dives, maybe you'll get something out of this. Now, if you like horror, music, and deep dives, don't forget to smash the subscribe button. It helps the algorithms out. Now, I'm going to preface this one. There are going to be names and places, which I've mentioned before.
Okay.
So if you're a student and have taken lots of good notes, you will get this. If you haven't, it's fine. I got you. I'll hold your hand. Specifically when it comes to Silent Hill 2, if you don't remember, then I guess this is as good as any place to say, check out this video if you've missed out on it. Thumbnail and other things in the corners and wherever they belong. You know how it all works. Links in the description below too. If you like a solid murder mystery, then you are in good company. However, this one takes a bit of a twist. So pay attention because this is where details matter the most.
Okay.
Our protagonist, Henry Townsend, finds himself locked in his apartment for 5 days, with no means of communication and having the same nightmares. Shortly afterward, a hole appears in the wall of his bathroom, through which he enters an alternate reality. He ends up in a subway station just down the corner from his apartment, where he meets a woman by the name of Cynthia Velasquez. A woman convinced that she is dreaming. She asks Henry to help her figure out how to get out of the subway. If we do, we'll get a special favor.
Oh.
Well, one thing leads to another, and ghosts start haunting us down. And next thing you know, she is soon killed by an unknown man. The only clue being 16121 carved in her chest. Awakening in his apartment, Henry hears confirmation from the radio that Cynthia is indeed deader than dead in the real world. Henry goes through the hole, now a lot bigger, and meets a guy by the name of Jasper Guine, a man fascinated by the paranormal and the cult of Silent Hill. They both meet inside this place. It's like a forest area. And there we find an orphanage named Wish House. Turns out this is the spot cultists would prime children into the fold. We also find a cemetery southwest of the orphanage where a coffin is unearthed. Inside, with presumed blood, is numbers 11121. Whose coffin could this be? We meet up with Jasper inside the orphanage where he decides to set himself afire and carve the numbers 17121 into his chest, thus burning himself, the orphanage, and you inside.
This is all a dream sequence?
Okay, here's the thing about Silent Hill 4. As you go through, since you can't go through your front door, because it's locked.
Okay. Like, why can't he just unlock it? He's on the inside.
Yeah, he doesn't have any tools to unlock it. They're all padlocked. There's a big old chain across the door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like...
You can't just twist.
Yeah, I'm like, it can't be that dumb. Okay.
To be fair, Henry is dumber than dumb, but he's not that dumb, okay?
Okay. Okay, so he's stuck in his apartment for 5 days. Front door is chained, so he can't get out. And his only means of escaping is going through a hole that magically appears inside his bathroom. And he goes through it, and the first time he goes through the hole, he meets Cynthia Velasquez.
Mm-hmm.
Meets her, chit-chats with her, comes back to his apartment, and then she's dead the next day on the news.
So every time he comes back from... So Henry has the ability of seeing these holes, right?
Okay.
Through this journey. And...
The hole that he's crawling through?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's like a link between his apartment and then like outside of his apartment, right? And every time he goes back to his apartment for any particular reason, he always wakes up in his bed. So is it a dream? Is it real? So Cynthia is saying that she's dreaming, right?
Uh-huh.
But it's like a nightmare. It's a horrible one too. If he could help Cynthia out, then she'll do a special favor for him.
Okay.
Jasper's not really all that bright as a character, so he
meets Jasper on trip number 2.
Yes.
Okay.
So is it real? Is it a dream? Is it not? We're still trying to figure that out, because again, Silent Hill is all about like that blur between reality and dream or nightmare. No,
it's never explained cleanly.
So awakening in his apartment, Henry hears confirmation from the radio that Jasper is also deader than dead in the real world. The police start thinking about the string of murders from years ago are happening again. Like a copycat We go back into the hole once more to meet Andrew DeSalvo, a former employee of Wish House, the orphanage we just ran into. This was also run by the aforementioned cult, who is now locked in a water prison set in Toluca Lake. The ghosts are not as prevalent in this level, however, we meet a whole new kind of manifestation. As stated before, the ghosts are manifestations of people killed who have been killed. Ergo, this level, manifestations is the image of Billy and Miriam Locane. Here we find out the little child we've also seen in the orphanage is named Walter Sullivan. It doesn't take long, but like clockwork, Andrew is murked in the torture room just behind the prison cafeteria, with the numbers 18121 carved into him. One of our next door neighbors in our apartment complex, Richard Brantree, is electrocuted in his own living room. The numbers 19121 are carved in his forehead. All the deaths up to this point have similarities to a deceased serial killer by the name of Walter Sullivan. This is impossible. Walter was caught, sent to prison, and then died when he stabbed himself with a spoon. We know this because the articles found in both Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, he ended up being buried in a cemetery just southwest of the orphanage. In fact, his burial site may be in question because James Sunderland finds it along the way through the maze section of his journey.
Okay.
In the meantime, of all this happening, Henry finds diary scraps belonging to a journalist named Joseph Schreiber. He was the former inhabitant of the apartment Henry now lives in. Joseph was investigating Walter's murder spree because, hobbies. He discovers Walter Sullivan was an abandoned child born inside Henry's apartment, and apparently the parents decided to ditch the child. The child was then discovered by one Frank Sutherland. This is James Sunderland's father. The orphan was sent to Wish House and is led to believe this, I can't make this up, biological mother is Henry's apartment. The child believes the apartment is his mom, and he was born inside this apartment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor kid. He's gonna have a rough life.
Oh, he does.
Oh,
yeah. To purify the area, Walter, now in an undead state, attempts to perform the ritual, which requires 21 murders. But let's just, dress it up and call them sacraments.
Wait, who's in the undead? He's like a zombie?
He's like a ghost.
Walter Sullivan. Who's he again?
He's the guy who's been murdering, 10 people.
But he was the one that was supposed to have died. And
he was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was that guy. Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the police are just all aflutter because they don't know what's what.
Okay.
So those cars numbers I was talking about earlier, like 16121.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually 16/21. So 16 out of 21.
Oh, shit.
So by the way, Frank Sutherland has Walter Sullivan's umbilical cord. And apparently, it's been smelling really awful since all these shenanigans have been going down. We also find out it had done this once before when Joseph lived in the apartment. Remember, Joseph was the investigator who once lived in Henry's apartment.
Why does he have an umbilical cord?
That's not even his kid? I know. Well, why is James looking for his dead wife from 3 years ago? That whole family's all screwed up.
Yeah.
It's a lot of white people.
Oh, I'm glad you said it, because I was thinking it, but I don't know if I could say it, but yeah.
I'll say it. Hand me the telephone. As Walter prepares to kill his 20th victim, Eileen Galvin, Henry's next-door neighbor, whom we've been spying on this whole time, the child manifestation of Walter appears, thus stopping the murder. We next find Eileen at the local hospital, where we find out we're the only ones who can see the portal which has been linking Walter's world to the real world. Eileen agrees to join Henry in locating Joseph. That seems to be the to-do thing. But to do this, we have to travel to the center of Walter's chaos world, which we've been traveling to this whole time. From this point on, the apartment used to be a safe space. Now, supernatural occurrences begin to manifest in Henry's apartment. We're talking ghosts, blood flowing from faucets, shoes moving around, clocks spinning around, the works.
The apartment that he goes to where he lives.
His home.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
To stop all these paranormal instances from happening more and more, we have to exercise them. We're talking jumping jacks, sit-ups, push-ups, curls, squats, the works. We revisit all the areas again, the subway, the forest, the prison, and the neighborhood abroad.
Mm-hmm.
And each area is haunted by the specters of those we've already met before. To stop these ghosts, we have to use these things called the Swords of Obedience to keep them pinned to the earth. Well, the two eventually, Eileen and Henry, eventually find Joseph's ghost, which means he too was a target of Walter Sullivan. Joseph tells them the only way to escape is to kill Walter while revealing Henry is the intended 21st victim, thus completing the ritual. Shortly after Henry acquires Walter's umbilical cord, the MacGuffin of the whole story, by the way, which is required to kill him, at some point Eileen leaves Henry and returns to the apartment. Because all of a sudden she feels sad for Walter, the child. Henry follows and finds out Walter's body, which was missing from the unearthed coffin, has been inside a secret room in his apartment the whole freaking time. So finding hold on.
The dude in the apartment, unbeknownst to him, has the body of someone else in his apartment?
Joseph Schreiber once lived in the apartment.
All right.
Once he started finding out information about Walter Sullivan, he got murked.
Okay.
And then Henry moves in.
Okay.
And then 5 days of all this shenanigans happening where he's just having these nightmares, and then all of a sudden he's able to go through these tunnels, right?
Right.
He finds out that there's a false wall, and inside that false wall is where the body of Walter Sullivan has been this whole time.
So is that the cause of all the supernatural bullshit?
Well, it doesn't help.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
It really doesn't help. So
I don't think there would be enough sage.
No.
You're gonna smudge this one away.
Finding Eileen's possessed, just out of her mind, and about to hobble into her death trap, a final fight between Henry and Walter goes down. Now, depending on how this all turns out, we got 4 possible endings.
Oh.
Determined by whether or not Eileen survives and the condition of Henry's apartment. So these are 2 things you have to worry about in this game. So here we go, from the worst case scenario to the best.
Okay.
The worst case scenario is called the 21 Sacraments. The ending sees Walter and him as a child in the apartment, while the radio reveals that Henry and Eileen have died along with several others. Remember the bit about Jasper setting the orphanage on fire?
Right.
Well, apparently that's also where Henry died, and Eileen was ultimately killed by Walter. In Eileen's death, Henry awakens in his apartment, hearing from the radio that Eileen has died at the hospital, and he falls to the ground in despair. The mother ending, Henry escapes from his apartment building and brings flowers to Eileen, who plans to return to the apartment building, and his apartment, meanwhile, has been completely possessed of the ghosts. This is what happens when Henry decides to not exercise the ghosts with, like deadlifts and squats and things like that. In the best case scenario, escape, it begins similar to the last one, Mother, where Henry escapes the apartment building and brings Eileen flowers and stuff like that. But Eileen chooses to find a new place to live, and Henry's apartment is now shown not to be possessed.
Okay.
So which one would you want to be canon? Comment down below, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Which one would you like to be canon? How do you feel about Silent Hill 4? Murder mystery.
Yeah, it really is a one giant mystery thing. I feel like this one was kind of reaching a lot. A lot of more supernatural ghosting and all that compared to the other ones. The other ones were more of leading up to a sacrifice, a deity taking possession of a body. This one is just a whole interacting with a possible ghost. The ghost is possibly dead but still killing from beyond the grave, and you trying to deal with that. But I will say that it seems like there's a lot more callbacks to previous characters and names and situations and places, people, places, things, and into this one. So I feel like you probably would need to have played the other 2 in order to play this one to understand the callbacks.
It's interesting you say that because there's actually only 2 articles in Silent Hill 2. Well, one in Silent Hill 2 and one in Silent Hill 3 that addresses this.
I can see it easily being glossed over if you weren't paying attention to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then you get to Silent Hill 4, which, by the way, this was my first Silent Hill video game. So I didn't have Silent Hill 3 or Silent Hill 2.
Oh, this is when you started on?
This is the one I started on.
Oh.
Yeah. So to me, I was like, la la la, these are names.
So how did you feel completing and not knowing the full story and playing it through?
Well, I played it as a murder mystery game and collect them all and find out the puzzle pieces. So I was raised on Sierra games where you have to press the space bar and type in the word look, and then the game tells you what you're looking at.
Oh, yes. I remember you showing me that.
Yes. And so I treated Silent Hill 4 as that kind of game where the story's unveiling itself as you play along.
Got it.
And the riddles start stacking on top of each other. But the lore behind it, such as like who Walter Sullivan is, why is his name so relevant? Because it's been brought up like 2 times in a row. Why is Miriam and Billy Locane brought up twice in a row? Because they were dead-ass name dropped, not just once, but twice in Silent Hill 2.
Mm-hmm.
Once in a murder article in-game. That's like back at the apartment complex. Once James gets to the hospital, there's like this radio broadcast, and it's like, question number 1, this little girl was killed and chopped with an axe. What was her name? And it'd be like, it's Miriam Locane. But then you don't actually see Miriam and Billy Locane until this video game.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
You know? So there's callbacks to it because it's like doing this with each other.
Uh-huh.
But it still stands alone on its own. In fact, actually, this game was supposed to be its own thing outside of Silent Hill. The developers of this game, they went from Silent Hill 2 to Silent Hill 3, and then they were building this game as its own, which is why it's so different, because it's partly first person when you play as Henry in the apartment, but then when you leave the apartment, it's third person.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until Silent Hill 3 did so well that they were like, okay, well, let's just shoehorn the name Silent Hill all over this game as a script, and then just push it out of Silent Hill 4.
I could see that if they didn't push the previous names from the other ones into this one, I could see this really just being like a standalone game on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But them constantly reinforcing past entries, I could see how they could have did that either way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, here's the big thing. This is the last of like the original team from Silent Hill making any more Silent Hill games. After this, there's only one person from the original team, Akira Yamaoka, who does all the music.
Mm-hmm.
He produced this video game. After this, it starts becoming very Americanized or very Western. So imagine like a bunch of people from the East of the world making a video game inspired by the West, but with very Eastern horror involved.
Okay.
And now we're like taking that Western inspired story or place and now shoehorning Western horror into it. And it actually kind of strangely loses its essence in that process. And you will see that in the next 3 episodes, because Origins, Homecoming, Downpour, even Shattered Memories, so 4, in the next 4 episodes, it's gonna be, you're gonna tell a difference.
Silent Hill 4, what system is that on?
This is on PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. I played the Xbox version, and I don't know why, but like, it was glitching. I don't know if it was the Xbox 360 not processing the graphics, or just a really bad copy, but
I think that's just a 360 thing, because even when I'm like playing Blasphemous on your system, like it glitches on me too.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know why it does that. Xboxing.
Seriously. So, how do you feel about Silent Hill 4? Like, between the other 3, like, which one would you say in the classical Silent Hill, the 4 canon, which one would be your favorite?
I guess if I had to choose, I guess it would be 1, 3, 2, and then 4. This one's a little too wonky and out there for me. I'm not really like, But then again, I'm not really big with like mysteries.
Okay.
I'm more like a button masher. Like, where's the action? Where's my like? You see the games that I play. Yeah, I need
Blasphemous.
I need some fast pace, like something. But
yeah,
the other one,
the guy who also plays Final Fantasy, which is slow as butter.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's fair. I mean, yeah,
this one seems like it moves a little bit slower than the other ones. Maybe it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think 1 and 3 was a nice segue into each other, going one into the other. I kind of like that.
Yeah. For me, I like 2, 4. 2 is like the best. To me, number 2 is like killer. It's like, it literally takes like everything from Silent Hill and just dives off into its own thing, right?
Gotcha.
Kind of like Donkey Kong Country 2. It took like the original idea of Donkey Kong and then expanded like specialty moves and like like different graphics and things like that, and different places and different things that you can do in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel Silent Hill 2 was to a concept of Silent Hill is that it just pole vaulted over into like a whole different world, you know? But like within the same rules, right? Silent Hill 4 is always a number 2 to me because it was my first love.
I was just about to say, it's nostalgic for you.
It's nostalgic for me. It's my first love. But then like 3 and 1 or 1 and 3, they take like equal slot to each other, not one's above or greater than the other. I guess like for graphics purposes, 3 would win out, but for story, for characters, for all that, they're even playing fields for me because they complete a story.
I can see that because even like the game that series Wild Arms that I like, I touched about the first one, super like early 3D graphics. You've seen it; it's kind of lame, but that is by far my favorite because it's the first one that I played, and then 4 and 5 just got like over the top anime stuff that I showed you the video, but 1 is always like I fall back on that one. It's nostalgic. It was like one of the very first RPGs I ever played. I think it might have been the first one actually.
Really?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So I feel that.
Well, thank you so much for watching and enjoying the series. We're going to continue on with more deep dives and more lore as we go on. So stick around. Don't forget to check videos over here and leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear what you like to think about Silent Hill, what your thoughts are on the synopsis and things like that. Till then, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, don't pollute, and see you until next time. Unpleasant dreams. Sometimes technology just be technology some days.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm pointing the wrong direction. Wait, one. It's whatever at this point. I don't care.
Okay.
Again, technology be technology these days.
Yeah.
Gee.